Alright, you little demons, Jules here from WhatCulture.com, back again with another episode of the awesomely named and authorly hosted Choose Your Own Adventure, the weekly medieval-themed format where I, the crown jewels of WhatCulture.com, ticket is chosen by you. Yes, you, the person who has to apologise for being absent over these last few weeks. I took some time off to be with family and friends, and Dan did the same as well, but now we are back fusing together, and we make such a good pair that my fingertips are now touching. That is us! That is the team. Yes, you get to decide what list I dole out to you each and every week, and this week we have none other than I'm gonna need to try and take a look at your name here. Pietrzdworowy183. Piotrddworowy183. How do you pronounce that? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for your suggestion of video game companions that sucked to hang out with. Oh, maybe this isn't like me and Dan. We make a good team. This is the exact opposite. Because the whole point of any video game companion is to lighten the player's load, right? A good sidekick will prove themselves useful by either doling out handy items, pointing the player in the right direction, or just providing some good old-fashioned moral support when they need it the most. Yet we're all complicated creatures, and evidently that applies to NPC helpers as well, who, not content to merely be helpful, sometimes decide to be totally unbearable assholes as well. Because some video games will lumber you with sidekick characters that are obnoxious, absolute scene stealers, or are just downright villainous sometimes. So let's have a chat about them. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 useful video game companions that suck to hang out with. Number 8, Roman Bellic, Grand Theft Auto 4. Now, Grand Theft Auto 4's Roman Bellic is one of the most infamous meme-worthy video game companions in history, and it's for damn good reason. Now, spending time with Roman definitely does give you some rewards later down the line, because if you get that friendship over the threshold, then he will give you free taxi rides whenever you want, and that's okay, I guess. But unfortunately, you do have to suffer through a lot of his requests to go hang out, and of course that means going bowling, cousin. Now, his boisterousness is one thing, but his sheer neediness in constantly calling the player to hang out with him quickly establishes him as a draining energy vampire whose sheer aura is intensely off-putting. He means well, for sure, but is just so damn constant. And let's face it, if you pick the ending where Roman dies, spoiler alert, but the game is like so many years old by this point, that's on you by now, then the only thing that you're really missing out on is those free taxi rides. Oh, I'm a monster because I'm not shedding a tear. He was annoying. Nah. Number 7, Revali, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, Revali is one of the most important companion characters in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, given that he's one of 4 champions tasked with piloting a divine beast to help weaken Calamity Ganon. And also he provides Link with one of the best abilities in the game, the Updraft providing Revali's Gale, which was depressingly absent in the recent sequel Tears of the Kingdom. But as useful as Revali is, it's just a shame that he's, how do I best put this? Oh, an insufferable asshole. He's got a giant stick up his butt about helping Link, who he clearly views as inferior, and spends most of the screen time being relentlessly mean to him, giving an arrogant, egomaniacal air. And yes, I know that you're probably drawing comparisons between Revali and myself, but this is a gimmick. I'm not actually an arsehole to my friends. At least I hope I'm not, jeez. If Salt took on a living embodiment, it'd surely be Revali, whose smugness knows no bounds, enough so that even his awesome character design and voice acting can't nearly compensate. Number 6, Paimon, Genshin Impact. Now, right at the start of Genshin Impact, players are introduced to their companion character for the rest of the game, Paimon, who serves as their guide throughout the world. Now, Paimon is objectively useful in terms of moving the story forward and shepherding you in the right direction, but it's also fair to say that developers miHoYo ultimately made her a little too helpful for her own good, to the extent that she's actually a major nuisance. Now, it's tough to think of many other video game sidekicks as relentlessly annoying as Paimon, but here we are in Genshin Impact, where every other step you've got her leaning over your shoulder going, "Hey, do you see that? Hey, look at that. Whoa, wouldn't you like to know a joke that I heard about from a Christmas cracker 10 years ago, and I've got memory loss, won't remember the punchline, and I have to backwards track it all the way through. That's going to sound like a fun time for you, isn't it? That's going to sound like a fun time for you, isn't it?" Ooh, getting a bit worked up. And of course, it doesn't help that Paimon has a cutesy high-pitched nails and a chalkboard voice, ensuring that within days of the game's release, players were already begging the developer to let them mute her. And ultimately, Paimon's utility as a middling support character is massively outweighed by just everything else about her that is very, very annoying. Number 5, Sheva and Chris, Resident Evil 5. Now this is the thing, a lot of people complain about the AI, quite rightly so, present in Resident Evil 5, which obviously was a massive departure from the other games in that it now gave you a computer-controlled AI or a teammate controlled by another player who would help you out on your mission to destroy all of the bioterrorist weapons and other guff and mutants and not zombies. It was a good game, a fun game, not a great game. Anyway, I'm getting off point here. A lot of people complain about the AI, right? And they usually unfairly attribute it to being Sheva alone, because most of the people just play as Chris Redfield on their first playthrough. He is the known antagonist, so therefore draws a greater crowd. But the problem is that people forget it's the same AI if you choose to control Sheva, all right? Okay, so let's just set the record straight there. And now let's follow up this by saying that the AI here is goddamn atrocious. Your computer-controlled companion will routinely use both ammo and healing items way too liberally, as well as pick up proximity mines that you've just laid down, and generally has little regard for their own safety, meaning that you have to use your precious healing items on them. And ultimately, players will find themselves forced to babysit this supporting character far too often, meaning that Capcom's inability to program the AI is the biggest and most terrifying enemy present in this game. I mean, hell, there's even a PC mod that lets you cut out your computer-controlled companion from the experience entirely. And it's got quite a few downloads. Capcom, if you're looking at that, just going like, maybe we should cut this. And they haven't had it back since. Or have they? Number 4, Rose, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty. Now, in the main tanker set portion of Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, the player's primary support character is Rose, your girlfriend who you must call in order to save your progress throughout the game. And this is all well and good. I mean, you've got the emotional turmoil right in front of you. You've got to witness your partner going through trials and tribulations, and all you can do is on the other end try to help them, to keep them calm through these tense situations. But the problem is that Rose more often than not forgets that you are in a life and death situation and will routinely ask you about your relationship with her. It's like, I'm sorry, love, with peace and love, all right? I'm about to just snap this guy's neck. Can I call you back? Maybe I don't need to rehash what problems I know I left the washing up in the sink. Believe it or not, I'm quite busy. I'm quite busy on this oil tanker trying to save the world, all right? Okay, no, that wasn't me. I wasn't having a tone. I'm not having a go. I promise you. I'm saying it calmly. I am calm. I'm not raising my voice. What if we go out for dinner next week, all right? Just me and you. We'll hash out then, okay? Okay, right. I've got to go. I've got to go drown someone. I'll be right back. I love you too. Clearly the pair have a lot going on, but Rose constantly interrupting the mission and general flow of the game to discuss their romantic life, well, makes her supremely infuriating to deal with. Given that the save characters in the Metal Gear Solid franchise are typically fun and interesting, well, Rose is kind of bland by comparison, saddling both the character and the player with a ton of gooey melodramatic baggage that's not even worth the eventual emotional payoff. And reportedly, the character of Rose was based on a real-life interaction that Hideo Kojima had, where he forgot the first date that he met his wife, right? So instead of just like keeping it to himself, he decided to put it into the video game as a key plot point, a character development between these two. Cheers? Number 3, Professor Egad, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. Okay, right, just straight off the bat, let's just say what is true about Professor Egad. He's a lovable character, right? And he is definitely useful, seeing as he gives you the tools and means with which to go about and absolutely suck up them ghosts. But at the same time, that doesn't stop him from being very annoying. And that usually comes across when he tries to help, and I'm using very heavy quotation marks here because it often veers into outright pushiness, as his assistance is so unwarranted to more inquisitive players who are just keen to explore and play the game at their own pace. And that's without even considering how Gad mocks Luigi for being a scaredy cat, which is pretty damn mean all things considered. He's a textbook example of a character who is invaluable to Luigi, even though he ultimately, well, just talks way too damn much. Number 2, 343 Guilty Spark, Halo. Right, Dan, I've got a script in front of me explaining why 343 Guilty Spark is an annoyance of unparalleled levels here. But I think that you and I both know, because we play Halo quite a lot, how bad this is. I feel like it's unlocking a core memory, but that core memory is just sadness wrapped in bacon, but the bacon is also hate.
Absolutely unacceptable!
If you've ever played Halo, you know what we're on about. You know how annoying, how infuriating, and how ultimately satisfying it is when you get to blast this little creep to pieces. Need I say more? No. But I will say this. You guilty spark. And number 1, Donald Duck, Kingdom Hearts. Okay, put these pitchforks down right now. I know this is a sacrilegious take. We are talking about Kingdom Hearts in a negative way, and the fan base is very, very passionate. I get it. And we're also talking about Donald Duck, who is a beloved cartoon character. But at the same time, though... What's that? Oh, you're casting your spell for the 15th time in this battle, and you do that every time, do you? That's what you sound like, mate. That's what you sound like. I mean, there's no guessing around it. The voice becomes a chore to listen to after an hour or two, and this is a game that goes on for like 30, 40, 50 hours. Hearing Donald let out a raspy squawk loudly every time he's hit, well, it fast becomes headache-inducing, if not outright destructive to the f***ing soul. Even though Donald is theoretically helpful as an extremely powerful magic user, he rocks such laughably low HP and attack and defense stats that he's more often in danger of being KO'd and becoming a mere liability. Also, to make matters worse, he was nerfed in Kingdom Hearts 2, so he became even more of a babysitting chore. It's just like, Donald, the one reason we kept you around for, now you can't even do it. Brother, what is going on? Donald Duck could be helpful, but between his overall weakness and his sheer sensory assault that occurs every time he opens his mouth, it's tough to consider him worth the trouble in the first 2 games. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 useful video game companions that absolutely suck to hang out with. I hope you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below, and put your suggestions for next week's episode down there as well. Now, I just want to say welcome back to myself and Dan. We're back, 2024. Again, apologies for the break. Hopefully this leads into a good year for Choose Your Own Adventure, and also you watching at home as well. It's the start of the year, so let's have some pep in our step and some positivity in our repository. I don't know where I was going with that, but let's just try and remember to keep loving ourselves. We deserve love, happiness, and success. We all do as human beings, all right? So treat yourself as you deserve, because you're a massive ledge, all right? All right? All right? If you want to follow us, social media stuff's over there. But remember, above all else, just keep being you. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. And I'll speak to you soon. Get out of my way, microphone. See you later. Bye.